This evening, let me bring use this opportunity to bring the big picture to us this evening. And I want to thank each of you along with all my colleagues for accepting our invitation. We feel very honored that you are here. The purpose of this evening is really to be able to express our accountability. World Vision stewardship is not a matter of account books. For World Vision stewardship is a value, one of the 5 core values of the organization. So this for us is an expression of our value, and I also want to use this evening to be able to share with you that in the midst of all the poverty and the social evils that our country is faced with, these children, these communities indicate that there is hope at the end of the day. That our future is not as bleak as our numbers seem to suggest. That there is a possibility of a hope in some child's life, some homes this evening. But this evening is also our time to come together to talk about what is otherwise a very unpopular topic. And I'm really grateful to you that you have chosen to set apart this evening to talk about an unpopular topic of poverty, pain, grief, social evils that we have in this country. World Vision is an organization that is present across this country. Is it on the screen? We have about 100, we serve in 163 districts in the country, and we serve about 2.61 million children just in India, of which we impact directly 351,000 children in 130 development programs across this country, a significant portion of them being in rural areas. India alone has about 75,000 sponsors like you who have stood with us, and we're really grateful to you for the fact that you've stood with us through this journey. But what really wakes up World Vision staff are not these numbers. What wakes us up is the fact that we can make a difference in one child's life. That is what wakes us up in the morning in World Vision. We seek to make a difference in the life of children. A few months ago, I was in Imphal meeting with our team that works with HIV positives in that area, a significant portion of HIV positives in Imphal. And as I arrived there and I was talking and getting introduced to the people around there, a little young girl came running to me and she said, "Uncle, do you recognize me?" And very honestly, I had not seen her, so I did not recognize her. So I asked my colleagues, "Who is this?" And they said, "Her name is Sonia, and she is one of our HIV peer educators. She trains she creates sensitivities among other school children about the risk and the dangers of being HIV infected." So we got talking to Sonia. Sonia told me that many years ago her father died of a very strange illness. She doesn't know what it was. And she said, "Today my mother is also sick. So before you leave, Uncle, can you come and see my mother? She is not well." So I walked around, visited the communities, and then towards the end of my evening, I looked for Sonia and wanted to go visit her home. And they said Sonia's mother is in the World Vision office, and she was lying there on a wooden bed, and she was getting drips that evening. She was very much in tears. She was crying. And then Sonia told us the rest of the story. She said her father had died a few years ago. Her mother today, they say, is HIV positive, And she said, "Uncle, I have a younger sister, and she also is HIV positive. I'm the only one in the home who is not HIV positive. So I take care of my mother and my sister." And she was at that time in 10th standard. So I asked Sonia, "Can I pray with you?" We prayed, and all of us, because of the pain that the mother was in and the very desperate situation that the family was going through, we were broken completely, except Sonia. Sonia said, "Uncle, don't cry. There is hope in the situation." What I want to share with you is, sponsorship is not simply a transaction where you give 1,000 rupees to help a child get a few school bags and school books. This is about birthing of hope. That today, and as we heard this evening, our children will go to bed knowing that there is an uncle or an auntie who cares for her. That is what sponsorship is. Sponsorship in its DNA is about communicating hope in an otherwise very hopeless situation. India, they say 836 million people today are below $2 a day, which the UNDP uses as the poverty line. Even if you use India's poverty line, census yesterday, which our finance minister released, he says there are 25% of our people, that is 25 to 30 million people today will go to bed without a hope, without any opportunity. A friend of mine would say, the only mistake a poor child did was to select the wrong parents. Today, I can say, along with my wife, we have 2 sons. Whenever they lost a book, they know the father will give the book. My sons will know when it comes to paying school fees, there will be a father who will be able to supply the school fees. Not so with the child. Not so with the poor children. But they also have the same red color blood that flows through the veins of your child and my child. But unfortunately, all through their life, they will have to live in India, a country of their home, as second-class citizens. They say 43% of our children are malnourished, underweight. Experts say by the time they reach 59 months, not 59 months, actually by the time they reach 24 months, their brain is damaged. And then to expect the child to come first in class is near to impossibilities. But they too have a dream. They too have a dream. We heard that this evening. The size of the purse does not determine whether they can dream dreams. But the fact, World Vision believes that every sponsored child, every child, sponsored or otherwise, is made in the image of God. And that is why World Vision stands with them. We believe that it is important that we do not create dependencies on World Vision. So we start with the family. We take care of the families. Make sure tomorrow the parents would be able to say, I sent my child to school with a new school bag and a polished shoe and a new uniform. That would be a moment of pride for a parent. So World Vision invests in families. Make sure that the family is able to have enough income to be able to provide for their children. World Vision also provides for communities. We work with communities, mobilize them, and most places we form what is called self-help groups, basically cultivating the habit of savings. And over time, today we have 43,000 self-help groups in the country. About over 50% of them are linked to banks and do not need World Vision. They do not need World Vision. And some of them have borrowed as high as 15 lakhs, 25 lakhs, and they are able to pay back and they are able to take care of the needs of the children. Very recently, I was in Jharkhand, and in this community, all that we did was to give them a few wells in that community. a few years ago, in the last agriculture season, they had only single crop, and because of which they had food enough just for 3 months. And World Vision had put a well. They had said there were 13 wells in that community, 12 of them done by the government and one by World Vision. And they said this is the only well that has water all through the year. And because of which today they have 2 crops. They are able to sell 40% of the produce in the outside market and take care of their full year's food needs, so that the child need not be called underweight child, that the child has hope. Sponsorship is about birthing hope. This evening, your presence is a huge encouragement for us. All children in our community are important, sponsored, not sponsored. World Vision does not discriminate based on sponsorship, gender, caste, religion, you name it. World Vision does not know. All that World Vision knows is that every child is made in the image of God. And we will stand with that child, irrespective of the child, whether the child is from higher caste, lower caste, doesn't matter what it is. Child in need is a child who we want to be friends with. We look for very special, vulnerable children. We look for children who are disabled. We take care of them. They are special for us. Among the poor, we look for child laborers to make sure they're back in school. We look for girls especially to make sure they are not doubly disadvantaged. Poor first and a girl is a huge double disadvantage. And then on top of it, if you are disabled, 3 disadvantages. And then you add to it many other disadvantages that India is known for. And then we also take care of orphans and HIV positive children. We make sure they have a special preference in World Vision. World Vision also makes sure that we take care of malnourished children. These are important for World Vision. The rest of the world tells the poor that God has forsaken them. World Vision says, no, God has not forsaken you. The rest of the world tells the poor the size of the purse matters. We say no, the size of the purse does not matter. God has put in you the right to dream dreams, and we will stand with you. And every child is a story of a dream fulfilled. Engineering is no small matter. Someone said this evening, the fact that she came and stood in front of so many of you, great confidence. We have been in communities. You should see the joy on parents' face when the children come and do their dramas and dance. They say, my child? Is it true that my child can do this? There's this young girl in Kottayam, and her father was a drunkard, complete drunkard. The story was every time the father would come home, they would see the father walking towards a house, the children will go hide under the bed. That is the fear in the home. The mother will get beaten up. Yesterday we were talking to another lady and about another person. The mother would say, I would cook and keep waiting for the husband to come. He would come drunk, and the first thing he will do, look at what is cooked, and invariably he will not like what she has cooked. He will urinate in the food that she has cooked all through the day, and then he will beat her up, and he will go outside and eat or lie down in some place. The family will go without food that night. That is India. They say in Tamil Nadu, 50% of Tamil Nadu's revenue comes from our Tasmac shops. You and I need to be guilty every time we drive on the road, because that tar on the road is put together by the poor people drinking in our city. In our city, as though 9 to 5 was not enough, the shops open at 8 o'clock so that they drink and they don't even go for work. I was talking in Saidapet about the malnutrition in that community. They said, sir, எங்களுக்கு எல்லாமே தெரியும் சார், என்ன சாப்பாடு கொடுக்கணும், எப்போ கொடுக்கணும், எல்லாமே தெரியும். ஆனால் எங்கே பணம் சார் வரமாட்டேன் வீட்டுக்கு. எங்கள் வீட்டுக்கார் குடிச்சிக்கிட்டு வர மாட்டேன்ற வீட்டுக்கு. My malnutrition speech was simple theory. They say when Mrs. Gandhi was killed, India Today had an article in a very full-fledged article, and the author said the riots in the place, the number of buildings that were destroyed, the number of buses burnt and shops destroyed, everything. And finally, the author concluded his article by saying, all said and done, statistics never bleeds. It's people who bleed. All the census figure never bleeds. But today there is a mother who will say, I do not know what to do with my child. So this girl from Kottayam, father drunkard, they were quarry workers, no hope. And World Vision went and stood with them. We worked with the father, got him out of alcoholism. We organized a women's group, brought the mother into self-help group. Their income slowly increased, brick by brick. Hard work it was. This little young girl went on to finished her schooling, went on to do a master's in social work, and today she is the staff of World Vision in Delhi.